With the release of the successful remaster/remake of Crash Bandicoot the N. Sane Trilogy in the middle of last year, and the very recently announced Spyro Reignited Trilogy that's drummed up an immense amount of hype, it's clear there's not only a big market for much older loved games to be given a new lick of paint, but also that these games are still incredibly fun today. So in this video I thought we'd take a look at 6 games/series I personally believe could do with the Crash and Spyro treatment, and who knows, maybe we'll get a couple of them at some point in the future. For the first game we have Ape Escape. Originally released back in 1999, Ape Escape was particularly special back in the day as it was the first game to require the original DualShock's analog sticks and was a pretty unique platformer at the time. In fact, it still is. The game places you in the hands of a young boy named Spike, who is tasked with going on a journey to stop a monkey called Spectre after he uses a device that grants him a high intellect but also makes him evil. Aside from your usual platforming, the real charm of the game was in using different gadgets at Spike's disposal to capture numerous monkeys throughout each stage, and it was surprisingly good fun. It would be great to see the classic remade for the PS4 with a visual makeover and slight alterations to the controls that make it feel a little more natural and in line with games of today. Since Microsoft acquired Rare in 2002, they've done very little with the BanjoKazooie series aside from a vehicle constructor game called Nuts and Bolts and a re-release of Rare's games on the Xbox One called Rare Replay. Both of the original N64 Banjo games still hold up incredibly well today and are considered classic platformers just like Crash and Spyro, which makes them prime candidates to receive the same treatment. Not to mention, would give the Xbox a much needed exclusive at a time it really needs them. Although Rare may not be of the standard they once were during the N64 era when they created these games, evident by the failing of games like Sea of Thieves, I think they are more than capable of handling a remaster/remake of this kind. And who knows, maybe if such a remake did well, it would also convince Microsoft to produce an actual Banjo 3, which fans have seemingly been waiting forever for. Unlike its 2D counterparts, the 3D Sonic games have been rather hit or miss, with some relatively decent and some not so much. If there are 2 3D Sonic games that are pretty much universally loved, however, that would no doubt be Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Much like BanjoKazooie, if such a remastered collection was critically well received, it could be the prompt Sega need to develop more adventure-style Sonic games, moving away from the on-rails boost formula most of the 3D games in the series have gravitated towards in the last decade. Aside from the obvious graphical improvements, small gameplay changes could be made to fix many of its flaws, from tightening up the controls to completely revamping the more tedious elements of the games like the Emerald Shard collecting stages, and possibly even revoicing both of the games with the current cast of voice actors. Moving on to another platformer, albeit a very different kind of one, with the Sly Cooper trilogy that was created by Sucker Punch. Sly Cooper is often compared to the Ratchet & Clank and Jak and Daxter series, and although very good games, were often forgotten when compared to their slightly more popular platforming duos from the early 2000s. Despite receiving a really solid HD remaster of the trilogy on the PS3 in 2010 and later the Vita, after seeing how fantastic the Crash games look on the PS4, I can't help but want the same treatment for the Sly series, especially when glancing back at the now defunct Sly movie trailer that gives us a potential glimpse at just how good such a remake could look. The next game is also a Sucker Punch game, one that's a little different and not quite as old as the rest on this list. Infamous released in 2009 for the PS3 as an open world superhero game, placing you in the hands of Cole McGrath, who was suddenly thrust upon the power to control electricity. Infamous and also its sequel, Infamous 2, are one of the few big exclusives for the PS3 that haven't had a remaster, and although the second still holds up from a graphical standpoint, the first hasn't aged quite as well. Although Sony could easily get away with releasing a simple higher resolution remaster of the game, I would love to see it get a proper remake with the same attention to detail as both the Crash and Spyro collections, bringing with it brand new models, textures and lighting that leave it in line with the later PS4 titles in the series. Last but certainly not least is Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. Released in 1999 and created by Crystal Dynamics, the very same guys who developed the recent Tomb Raider reboot, the game is an action-adventure title and follows the character Raziel, a vampire turned wraith seeking revenge against his former master in a surprisingly engrossing and deep story. Back in 1999, the game was graphically pretty impressive and sported some fantastic CGI cutscenes for its time, but a lot has changed in the last 19 years and is definitely visually showing its age now. With that said, if there is one game that really deserves to be remade and brought up to date, it's definitely Soul Reaver, as its gameplay and story are still remarkably enjoyable. Let me know down in the comments which games you'd like to see get the Crash and Spyro treatment. I'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions. That's it for today. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content just like this. Click the thumbnail on the left or right for another of my videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.